All right. An algebraic expression is an expression that contains one or more terms. It may also contain algebraic,
Is that even a word?
yes, symbols such as variables. I know you may be sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, that does not make any sense to me. I don't know what an algebraic expression is. I don't know what terms are. I don't know what a variable is. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so hard. Well, let's break it down just a few moments and find out what a variable is. So a variable is a letter or symbol used to represent an unknown number. The value of a variable may change. So when we don't know something, when we were making our proportions last unit, when we didn't know something, what did we put?
An X.
We put an X. Could I have used Y or Z or J or L? I could have used anything because all it was doing was almost like a placeholder, right? Remember, we talked about before what a variable was, and we said that it could be a letter or a symbol. Back in little kids' school, you used boxes, right? And it was like fill in the block, the missing, fill in the box with the missing letter or the missing number, right? This is the same thing, except now we have a fancy word for that blank box. That blank box, we now put a letter. You think, letters and math, why are we moving the alphabet in here with the letters? It's just a placeholder for us to be able to solve it, okay? And just remember that from one problem to the next problem, even if I use X on number 1 and X on number 2, they may not be the same value because variables can vary. That's why it's called a variable. Then we also have our constants. A constant is a specific number. This is supposed to say whose value does not change. Does not change. A variable changes. A constant is constant. 3 plus X, what is my constant? The 3. That's not going to change. My X could be any number. All right. So let's talk about writing algebraic expressions. So in English class, they may say 7 more than n. We want to write it in math. This is what I like. English math. We don't want to have all these words. We're going to do it. So do we know it's 7 more than, do we know what n is?
No.
What is n?
Unknown.
That's going to be our unknown. It's going to be our variable. So my key word right here that I have is more than. Look down here at my keywords. Addition, I've got more than. So I've got 7 more than n. We're just writing an expression. That means we don't know what n is. So many times math kids are like, but how do I solve this? Well, we're not ready to solve that. We're just writing out the sentence. That's all we're doing. Okay? All right. So if I have this little thing here, I read it. Read it to me.
N minus 7.
Perfect. That's my English. N minus 7. I could have also used 7 subtracted from n. I could have used the difference of n and 7. I could have said n less than 7. N take away 7. 7 taken from in. I could have used all of those, yes.
But if it says like greater than or more than, won't you like use like the greater or less than symbols?
No. We're going to get to that, and you're going to see why we would use the greater than, less than, all those symbols. Those are in a different spot that we're going to be using it. Right now, this is just saying, hey, look, we're writing out an expression. That would be an inequality, which we'll go into next unit. Okay? All right, so I've got the product of 7 and n. What does the word product mean? Multiplication. So I would write it 7 times n. But because we're big kids now, we are going to write it 7n. Why am I writing it 7n? Why does it mean back to back like that? What?
Because it's the same thing as like dividing it.
Nope. This is supposed to be the or symbol, or. So I can write it as 7 times n, or I can write it 7n. Why can I write it that 7 and that n? It doesn't tell me what I'm doing there. What does it mean when two numbers are back to back like that?
Multiply.
Means multiplication. All right. N, how do I read this? Somebody read that to me. Samantha?
N divided by 7.
Perfect. N divided by 7. Pretty easy, right? Yes?
Yes.
All right. 5 less than n. I'm going to box in my keyword here. Less than tells me I'm going to do what? Subtract. Now listen to me very carefully, because I'm going to like star this one. Because this is the type that most people kind of miss. Because they know, okay, less than tells me I'm going to subtract, and then they just say, oh, 5 and then n. But we have to make sure we read it. It says 5 less than n. So what number is actually going to go first? 5 less than n. Or less. If I have a number and then I'm taking it less than, I'm going to do n minus 5. Or 5 less than n. What I kind of do with these, because I'm not going to lie, I tend to kind of get, oh my gosh, how do I write this correctly? I just pick a value. I pick a value, and I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to make all of my variables a number. I just pick any number I want. I usually use an easy number, like 2. Okay? I use an easy number of 2 and said, okay, if I plug in 2 here, 5 less than, or I probably would use 10 on this one. 5 less than 10. What is 5 less than 10? 5. So if I wrote it this other way and made this 10, would that give me 5 or would that give me negative 5? So sometimes I do that to make sure I have it written in the right order. All right, sum of v and 3. Sum tells me I'm going to do what? Add v and 3. Ratio of 4 and x. All right, a ratio 4 and x. Pretty easy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I think so. All right, we have all that down?